Well, are you saving too much in retirement? Is it squeezing your life today, trying to put too much money away? Well, this episode is all about answering a smart viewer question that actually asks about finding that right balance between preparing for the future, but also living fully in the present. Welcome in. This is Dollars with Dennis. I am Ben George, joined as always by Dennis Hoare at Faith 401k and Money Management. Dennis, I think a lot of people just ask, how much do I need to save? How often do you actually get the question, am I saving too much?
Yeah. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, not real often, but it is a very important question because saving too much can cramp a lot of other things in your life, and so you want to make sure you have a good formula.
I think a lot of it goes back to planning, which is kind of the theme of what we'll talk about today. But we're going to kind of talk about this and answer a question that came in. Again, if you have any questions, I always encourage you to check out the website 401k.faith. You'll learn all about Faith 401k, Dennis, the team there, what they can help you with. But here's the question to kind of kick us off, and the reason why we're talking about this today. My wife and I bring in a lot of money a year. We max out two 401ks, an HSA, 457B. We still put away more into our brokerage accounts. Yet I still feel like we're living paycheck to paycheck sometimes. We're also not living in our dream house because I prioritize retirement savings instead of putting a bigger chunk aside for a down payment. Are we saving too much for retirement? It'd be nice if we could back off a little bit and live a little more in the moment. So let's break this down. But before we do, Dennis, let's zoom out a little bit and just tell me what the risks are. What are the real risks of over saving?
Well, yeah, you're stressing yourself out. You don't have enough money to do day to day things, and you're worried about the long term savings, and you can't live for today at all, and that can really add a lot of pressure to people in their day to day life for sure. So we like having a plan.
Yeah, you don't want to have that pressure. And it seems like from this question, they're probably feeling a little bit of that pressure as well. So, how can you tell when you're looking at it? I know a lot of people are trying to measure their savings constantly, right? Am I ahead? Am I behind? Where should I be right now? How can you actually tell if you're ahead financially?
Yeah. So what we suggest is getting with a planner, a financial planner. Call our firm, getting a plan down so you know where you want to be at retirement, what you want to have, what you want to be able to do, and find out if you really are on track to do that. If you're on track or even over, then you might be able to start setting aside money for fun. So it's okay to have a little bit of fun now and then. If you're too worried about saving, you don't enjoy any part of life there. So you want to get a plan that lets you know what you're saving for, how much, when. We looked at some calculators. I know T. Rowe Price has one out there for the age thing. And I think while that's a good guideline, it's pretty generic and it is not specific to the individual needs of the client.
Yeah, I think those online tools can be helpful. I think to your point, just kind of as a starting point, a jump off point, right? You can't really put a whole lot of credibility into the number or what the output is until you actually sit down and kind of figure it out for yourself.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So you're looking at warning signs of okay, am I sacrificing too much right now? And to her point, hey, am I putting off the dream home too long because I'm sacrificing this? I'm living paycheck to paycheck, maybe not getting out and traveling or whatever your goal might be. What are some of those warning signs that hey, maybe you are sacrificing a little too much?
Yeah, some of it probably is dinner time conversations with your significant other. If you have a hard time going through dinner and not having any enjoyment in your conversations, something is not correct. Your budget is too tight, or if you're too focused on that, it takes a lot of energy to continue to save beyond your means. Some people live beyond their means, so the opposite is saving beyond your means, and that can be just as frightening for people.
Yeah, it can be. So those conversations be interesting to see how those are taking place and what you're talking about at the dinner table with your spouse. If you do recognize and maybe come to the realization, okay, maybe I am saving too aggressively. What can you do to adjust that? What are maybe some actions you can take right now to maybe pull back and balance things out a little bit?
So the first thing I would do is, so if you get the plan and it says you're on target to hit some of the retirement goals you want to do, then you can set different goals, set some short-term goals. I mentioned fun. I think you can set some short-term goals to go to a ball game, go to a concert you've been wanting to go to, and celebrate that when you hit that goal. If you take time to celebrate hitting a goal, that helps reinforce why you're doing it. So you can have goals and savings for a lot of different things, but you want to have some short-term ones that are focused towards some enjoyment in the day-to-day life, for sure.
Again, if you need help planning, if you do have questions about this, again, go to 401k.faith to learn more and set up a time to sit down with Dennis and be discussing, maybe some of your concerns, if it's saving too much, saving too little, where you stand, whatever your specific question might be. He's happy to sit down and help with you. But as we talk about saving too much and over saving, when is it actually okay to maybe start slowing down your retirement savings, Dennis? And if you decide to do that, what's the safest way to do that? Because I think all of us are a little worried. Okay, I don't want to pull back too much because then I don't have to play catch up again down the road.
That's a great point. So we do all these statistics, and averages and so forth like that. We put a lot of energy into getting somebody's retirement goal and their plan in place to pay for expenses when they're in retirement. So we're projecting all those things out for multiple years. The slowdown is we want to over project so that if we do want to slow down, we can start backing off, or we can redirect some savings. So if we hit our goal, our targets, and that's good, then we can start looking at, okay, do we want to get that house we've been dreaming about for a long time? Do we want to go on a nicer vacation? So we can start shifting our goals a little bit once we reach a comfort that we have enough money to retire on, at least with all the data we know today.
Does this answer change at all for you if it's someone in their 30s or 40s versus maybe their 50s or 60s? Are you more inclined to tell someone that's younger to keep pushing a little bit more and not feel that sense of security as much as someone that's closer to retirement?
It could, and it should. Maybe it should, but I think the younger people, you can, if you're starting with younger people, that's great because you can put in some of those other buckets for fun and for vacation and stuff like that. That an older, somebody's 50 and 60 are already well into that, and it's kind of hard to change that direction for them, and it's hard for them to let go. And you can think about some of the grandparents that would live through the Great Depression, and they just cannot spend money. They just continue to save and save because they don't know when it's going to go away. And so the younger people actually can have different goals go for college, go for a house, go for a good vacation, doing stuff like that on top of what they're saving for retirement. If you start that at a young age, that's much easier to have balance in your life. And again, I encourage people to celebrate hitting some of those goals. You hit the goal of hitting getting a new car, go out to dinner, celebrate it, and don't sweat the small details, but have a plan in place.
Yeah, enjoy those little wins. I think that's the biggest thing, Dennis. A lot of times we can let life kind of pass us by, right, without taking the time to just appreciate those little, even if they are littler things in the moment that are true milestones. So that's a good piece of advice. And again, this is something that Dennis and the team do at Faith 401k Money Management. It's just one piece of the overall planning that they help you with. And if you want to learn more, again, go to 401k.faith. But just talk a little bit, Dennis, about how you help someone put that plan in place to understand, okay, what I need to save, how do I reach my goals? A lot of those different elements that you plan for.
Yeah, so we had somebody in here yesterday, actually, and husband and wife. The husband's been retired for a few years, and the wife is going into retirement. And we were celebrating that yesterday because it's her first month off, and she was pretty excited. We went through the numbers, and they were better than expected. We had a few more pluses than we had minuses. She's really good about going back to her budget, making sure that's good. So those are all important factors in revisiting it every year because we want to. Things change throughout the year in everybody's life, so we want to revisit those plans and our budgets and our forecasts at least annually, if not more often.
Very good. Well, a great question. And hopefully you are in a position where you are saving enough to maybe have that feeling of, okay, I'm over saving. And hopefully this answers some of the questions about how you get to that point to understand if you are. And maybe you can actually start spending some of that and feeling comfortable with where you stand. But it all goes back again to having a plan, sitting down and building that customized plan out with someone like Dennis at Faith 401k and Money Management. So hopefully this helps you. If you have a question for us, send it in, reach out. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the website or here on YouTube if you're watching this there. And as always, please subscribe. Dennis, thanks as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Ben.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.